Hi guys, welcome back to another live stream here from Logosol Portable Sawmills and our headquarters in rainy Härnösand, Sweden. It's raining today, so we are actually under roof, which is nice, but still. Today, on this episode of Milling Monday, we are going to discuss about our bandsaw blades, our three types of bandsaw blades that we sell. Pelle?
Yes, we have the sand cut, or what we call the standard blades, and we have the HSS bimetal blades, and lastly we have the carbide blades.
So, and we have a special guest with us today. We have Tom Fox from Fox Forestry, Maine, USA.
Yes, and we have some questions for you guys too. So we come with live questions.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
it's
great.
going to be a great episode.
Yeah.
It's great to see you guys.
Yeah, great to have you here in Sweden. Amazing. So, where should we start? We can start to tell you about Logosol. Logosol is a Swedish-based company. You can find more information if you go to logosol.com. You can also find us on social media, Facebook and YouTube, Logosol Portable Sawmills. And be sure to check out our Instagram page as well. If you want to know pricing or our contact details, go to our webpage, logosol.com. And while you're there, take the time to register for our newsletter or sign up for our newsletter to be the first to know about cool new products, campaigns, and inspirational stuff here from Logosol. With us today, Pelle told you about the three different bandsaw blade types that we sell. The bandsaw blades are made by BACHO, or SNA Europe, as they're called as well. I think Göran, we have a colleague of ours from BACHO with us today, Göran Arnason. Hi, Göran.
Yeah, hello everybody.
Welcome
my
to
name is
Härnösand.
Göran. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my name is Göran Arnason, and I work as a senior bandsaw specialist at BACHO. And I've been working with bandsaw blades for almost 30 years.
So tell us a bit what makes BACHO's bandsaw blades so good.
Yeah, we have a very precise production with a extremely good quality control over every meter we produce, so that the blades are in the right setting, and regarding carbide, that they are grinded in the right way. We are one of the biggest producer of bandsaw blades in the world, and it's all blades are produced in Europe. And for the Nordic markets, Nordic countries up here, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, etc., we produce them in Lidköping. So for the rest of Europe, we weld the blades in Holland. But yeah, we have quick deliveries and very good quality on the three different kind of blades for wood cutting.
Yes, and I can assure you that we are very happy to work with BACHO, with Göran, and their line of bandsaw blades for wood cutting. Do you say wood cutting? No, cutting wood is like
Milling.
wood
Yeah.
milling wood.
Okay.
And we sell all three types of blade, but to different sorts of wood, perhaps, and to all sorts of customers as well. There is a blade that suits everyone, and I I think we can start with our standard blade that we have. It's perhaps not much to see on the camera, but this is the standard blade
Yeah.
that we have. So Göran, tell us about the standard blade. I can see it's not, this blade isn't tooth hardened as you normally would see as a standard blade from other suppliers.
No, that's correct. This is a fully hardened blade. And it's a different steel quality. It's a much higher steel quality than in the carbon-based tooth hardened blades. That is the cheapest one in the market. So this blade, the sand cut solid, it is between tooth hardened and HSS blade in quality.
So I mean, even though we call it a standard blade, it's not really a standard blade. It's a really good blade.
Yes, correct. It's one step above the standard carbon blade.
So, but this is Logosol's entry level blade, but we sell it to almost every customer.
Yeah.
And I had a question. A lot of our customers are asking about the difference with these three blades, and also it could be real differences in species in the United States, where we have, you know, predominantly softwood in one area and then hardwood in another, and then so density would change between on what you're milling or the thickness of what you're milling. So for that, the standard blade, and maybe you could go a little bit into the differences and tell us, you know, what is your experience with the different species, and can you use the standard blade throughout all of those different variables that the blade might have?
Yes, it's quite easy. The standard blade and the HSS blades, they are exactly the similar in setting. It's one straight tooth, and then it's one to the left and one to the right. So regarding surface, or that it works better in other woods, you can say that HSS, you get a much longer lifetime than on the solid blade. So if you
So you can use it longer before you resharpen it.
yes, with the HSS, it's a longer lifetime before resharpening. But then sometimes you can get trouble with these two blades because of the nature of the wood. Then it's very good to put in the carbide blade because it cuts totally different. It's a multi-chip blade with a different height on the tooth and a different setting on each tooth. So it's not really set like a normal blade. It's more the thickness of the carbide that gives the cut. So
And the different shapes of the teeth.
yes. So
But
if you have any trouble,
it's a really good blade, the carbide blade as well.
And so what about the setting of the teeth? I mean, we have our Logosol bandsaw sharpener, where I don't know if we get into that today, but we have our sharpener, and then how, like, does this maintain? Tell us about the lifespan of the blade as we sharpen this, and what we can expect for the setting of the teeth as this is happening.
I would say that normally you can resharpening maximum 5 times. Then you need to reset the blade because the setting is going smaller as longer as you cut. But up to 5 times, you don't need to do any setting, in my opinion.
Yeah, great.
Great. So let's make a test.
We have a sand cut in the machine now.
We have a sand cut in the machine.
Yeah, I can take this.
So we'll put that back, and we can make a test run with it, and then we can switch to
An HSS.
to an HSS and bimetal blade and just compare the surface. So this is already set up in the machine. If you're interested to see how to change saw blade or to set your sawmill up for the first time, for the first cut, we have a great video, a live stream we did about it, setting up your bandsaw mill for the first cut, I think we call it. So if you go to YouTube or Facebook, you can find that video online. So let's close up the lid. And we'll go ahead and make our cut.
Nice.
Beautiful. A nice and smooth surface.
We can actually
I could imagine that we won't see a difference
know
in the
might be
we'll leave the
It looks great.
yeah, it looks
I
really
would say that's a
really
perfect
great.
cut.
and
Nice and smooth.
and that's with the BACHO or the Logosol standard blade, the BACHO sand cut blade. Let's see if we can get some close-ups on this beautiful surface here.
No deflection where the knots, right through the knots.
No,
same.
exactly.
perfect.
And Pelle, what do you say the lifespan is of the standard blade, and where do we recommend it?
Well, it's usually between 1 and 2 effective hours of cutting on the standard blades. Obviously, that can differ a little bit depending on how much dirt. For example, if the logs have been pulled against the ground, the blades will get dull much faster. But in general, around 1 to 2 hours running time on these standard blades.
And with our sharpener, how long could you expect? How long does the blade take to sharpen?
Well, I would say around 10 minutes to sharpen the blade, roughly.
Yeah.
And you get about, I would say in general, you get about 5 sharpenings out of a blade.
Yeah.
Because after that, you really have to use a tool setter to fix them.
Sure.
So generally around 5 sharpenings.
Yeah. So that's also a good time to sort of change gears, get another log on the mill.
Exactly.
You don't really lose so much in production, even when you're working by yourself.
No.
Because these sharpening robots, many people when they buy a brand new machine, they're automatically getting the sharpener.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
because they want, and I think that's a real important point to make when we talk about what Logosol does for the customer.
Yeah.
Right? Because what they come, when you buy the package, you know, this comes, you can take care of your own blades.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait to ship them out. You know?
And that usually saves you a lot of time, because
Yeah.
you'll end up in that situation sooner or later.
Yeah.
So and it'll also cut the costs for the blades as well, to be able to resharpen them yourself. So in the long run, it'd be beneficial to do.
And so, would it be fair to say that for some of our customers, you might sell packages of 5?
Yeah.
So I mean, some guys, you would just have a wall of sharp blades that you could switch
Yeah.
every 2 hours.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
then at the end of the day, it might be fun to just take a pause and take a break,
Yeah.
and then just do your sharpening in the shop when you're sort of done milling too. That's another option, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to do, really.
Sure.
Because then you can focus on the milling when you're doing that.
Yeah.
And then you can focus on the sharpening when you're doing that. So it's usually the best. So a lot of customers, they maybe run on 10 blades.
Okay.
So they have 5 blades, so they can, you know, do continuous milling, and then they can have 5 blades for resharpening, and then
Yeah.
they switch.
So could you tell me what kind of, when you have somebody who's, let's say, used standard blades for a while, but
Yeah.
they haven't actually gotten into some of these other blades, what would that feel? What does that feel like when you start to get into the Carbide or the HSS blades? I mean, what is the most, somebody who's milled for a little while
Yeah.
with the standard blade, and then they come into a HSS blade?
Well, I'd say from what I can tell from a lot of customers is that when they switch to bimetal blades, for example, they tend to want to stay with them, just because you have longer running times, and you know, you don't have to switch blades that often, and you can still resharpen them. So if you have, you know, if you're unlucky and hit a nail, or in some ways damage the blade, they're still not, you know, overly expensive. We also have a lot of customers that start to use the Carbide blades, and you know, they also have a hard time going back, just because of
Okay.
the times that you have such a long running time on them.
Once you switch, you never go back.
Aha. Okay. And this works the same for softwood, hardwood. You know, I mean the lifespan of these blades. If you're working with hardwood, the nicer cuts, they go with the nicer blades. Is this true? Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But you get the longer lifespan.
Aha.
It will keep the tooth sharp
Okay.
for longer.
So
But the cutting surface is
the
actually
surface is almost this.
it's almost the same,
Yeah.
except for the Carbide blades,
Mm-hmm.
which gives almost like a plain surface.
Right.
And comparing bandsaw mill surfaces, you get a better surface on hardwood compared to softwood. So I mean,
Yeah.
this surface is great and looking good,
Yeah.
but comparing this to making a cut in a hardwood log would be completely different. That
Yeah.
surface would look even nicer, smoother.
Yeah. Because of the shape of the cell structure.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we were looking at square hardwood with the square cell structure with a compared to softwood, which is more of a oval. You know, more of a oval. So that's interesting. So Carbide blade, you're still going to get the 5 times to sharpen, but you're going to get longer. You're going to make more boards
On the Carbide
on
blade,
the Carbide blade.
buying a
and
Carbide blade, you can probably run that for a long time
So okay.
before replacing it,
Right.
and you don't even have to change it. You
Yeah.
just keep running the same blade day out and day in for perhaps several weeks.
But you don't resharpen the carbides. They're
Yeah.
you run them until they're
Until it's over.
Yeah.
We have one example from a customer that is that used the carbide blades a lot. He milled, I think it was up to 40 cubic meters
Wow.
on one blade, and that's a lot, without switching blades or anything.
and wasn't that in oak as well?
I can't remember. I don't know what type of wood it was, but
It was clean wood. I know that.
Yeah.
Something coming off of
Yeah.
a forwarder. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't. It wasn't.
so. But Göran,
Yes.
can you tell us now? We've tested the sand cut, the standard blade. We made the cut with that, and now we're going to switch to the HSS or the bimetal blades. Will we see a difference in the cutting result?
No, the teeth is built up in exactly the same way, so the surface should not be any different. It should be exactly the same as for the standard blades. It's only the lifetime of the blade that is different on the HSS.
And what's the difference between the standard blade and the HSS or bimetal blades?
The difference is that there is no HSS material in the tooth tip on the standard blades, but we made the teeth from a much better steel. It's the same backing material as in the HSS blade, but we don't have any HSS in the tooth tip. So the secret on the HSS blade is the little HSS teeth tip.
So it's a strip of HSS that's welded together with the backing.
Yes, that's true. That's why it's called bimetal, because it's two different materials welded together. We laser weld them together, these two materials.
So, and thanks to the HSS tips, they resist heat more, and they are more durable and will last longer.
Exactly. So it's a very big difference with HSS and normal steel material.
And in theory, how big is the difference in terms of durability?
I would say if you run the normal blade 1 to 2 hours and then resharpening, I would say 2 to 4 hours, maybe more on the HSS before the resharpening. But as you said, it's different wood and structure and things like that. Or if it's pollution in the wood, you get a shorter life than 4 hours before resharpening. But in clean wood, 3 to 4 hours before resharpening, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And that's great. I mean, it's a big difference.
Yes, it is.
But
And,
you,
especially-
sorry for interrupting, Göran. Before we forget totally about
Yeah.
it. You had a competition prepared.
Yes, I have. I was waiting for an opportunity to tell everybody. We're going to have a competition now. We will have one winner who will win a BACHO refrigerator, mini refrigerator. It looks like this. And it runs on both 12 volt and 220 volt. And in order to be able to win this, you need to answer this question. Besides bandsaw blades, BACHO is also producing tools. Which Swedish person was the inventor of the wrench and the pipe wrench? and also the founder of BACHO. And if we get multiple right answers, we will select the winner towards the end of this session. So
Great,
good luck,
that's cool.
everybody.
So cool. I mean, everybody wants a mini BACHO cooler or refrigerator.
Yeah, it's soon the season also for cold beverage.
It's good to have you by your sawmill. It was 12 volt as well, so you could
Yes.
actually put it beside your motor.
Exactly. Exactly.
Maybe
That's correct.
maybe it would go better by the blade sharpener at the end of the day,
Ah,
right?
but perhaps you need to refresh
It
during.
depends on which of the 3 blades you choose. You know, if you're on the carbide blade, you might have to have the cooler closer. You get less breaks. you know?
Yeah, I mean, you get no breaks with the carbide blades. You have to go on and mill and mill and mill and mill.
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay, great. So the competition is on. Place your guesses in the chat. The inventor of the adjustable wrench and the pipe wrench. And also the founder of BACHO.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's the same person.
Ah, it's the same person. Very good.
Yeah.
So we'll switch to the bimetal blades, or you switched already.
No,
No,
I haven't.
no.
I just want to maybe show how the tensioning mechanism work.
Ah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So should I get the camera then?
Yeah, we could do that.
Per Karlsson.
Yes. So here we're putting in a almost new blade.
And what type of blade is that now? It's the bimetal, the HSS blade.
Yeah, so this is the bimetal blade. There. And now this T-handle here is where you tension the blade. And here you have a scale, so you have a orange washer which meets the pointers here, then you know you got the
Okay,
correct.
let's see if you tighten there, we can see the orange washer move towards the indicator points. A bit more. More. Ah, you can do more. Come on, Pelle.
Oh, is it
That's perfect.
there?
Well done.
And then when you turn the blade, you want to make sure that it doesn't start to wander off either inwards or outwards, because that is a sign that you have to align the band wheels to each other. And you have adjustments on behind each band wheel here on both sides. And it's also important with these blade guide rollers that they are set so they're in line with the rail. So the blade doesn't want to go downwards or upwards. And you have adjustments, you have some grub screws here where you can adjust the blade guide rollers. And you can also, it's also important actually to align the band wheels with each other so the blade is moving parallel here, because otherwise you get excessive wear on the blades. Yeah, so that's a little bit about the tensioning and also the importance of the blade guide roller set correctly. We've actually made a separate video of that earlier on, and it's also you have also more information about that in the instruction manual. But I wanted to show you that because it's actually really good to have these rollers adjustable. It makes it so much easier to set up. So now we'll make a cut with this bimetal blade.
So now we'll make a test cut with the HSS blade. I would say that went as smooth as the previous one.
Yes, yes.
I can't tell the difference.
No.
What was cut with the standard blade or the HSS blades. We got some questions.
Yes.
And we have some hellos as well. We have a hi from Denmark. Michael, Danny, hi from Quebec, Canada.
Hello.
Louis, Kirkland Lake, Ontario. We have a question here from Michael. Does BACHO sell a tooth setting tool?
A two-setter?
Yes.
No. We do not sell, or maybe Göran can explain a little bit as well, the reason behind that.
Sell any setting tools because it's we see it as this. It is a very difficult operations to get it perfect. So it's quite expensive if you want to have a really good result. So we actually don't recommend setting of the blades. But
No, and that's good information.
To do that. Yeah. But we don't have it in our assortment.
We have another question regarding the HSS blades from Danny Dietz. So are the blades hardened on the HSS?
Yes, they are. The whole blade is fully hardened. So it has the tip of the teeth has a hardness of about 63 HRC. That's a hardened value. So they are really, really hard. So you can even cut steel with these blades in the right machine.
Good. Thank you, Göran. Can you tell us about the next blade? Now we've used the standard blade and the HSS blade. And now we have the top of the line, our premium blade, the Carbide tipped blade. You talked about it a bit before, but let's go back to that.
Yeah, it's a little bit less teeth than on the standard and the HSS. We have 0.8 teeth per inch first, then the next inch it's 1.0 1 teeth per inch, and then the next inch there is 0.8 again. And
So
this
it's a variable pitch.
variable pitch, yes, and it gives less vibrations and a nicer surface than the other two blades. And
You notice-
the tip of the is carbide. It's extremely hard.
I had a quick question for Göran about the residue on the blades. Is there any, if you're milling a lot of real green sappy wood, is there any difference in the three different blades as far as like mill residue collecting?
I wouldn't say that there's a difference. I mean, residue like sap on the blades, or resin residue on the blades.
No, that should not make any difference. Actually, I don't think so. Yeah, it's more that you get a better surface and extremely long life on the carbide. We have some examples that have had 80 hours cutting time, or someone also had 100 hours of cutting time.
Wow.
Without any resharpening. So it's a really good life, and in some very, very hard wood, you still get a really, really long life on the blade.
Excellent.
Do we have a carbide blade we can try?
We have one there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we have actually used this blade already during the previous live stream, so that is why we don't have the protective cover on it. But it's extremely important to be extra careful with the carbide tip blades, since the tips are so hard, so they can easily break if you drop them or hit them against metal or the ground. So normally when you purchase a new blade, it comes with this orange protective cover. Keep that on until you set the blade on your mill. Wouldn't you say that, Göran?
Yes, that's true, and it goes for all blades. It's always good to have the tooth protection on until you have had it mounted on the bandsaw.
So we'll put this on, make a cut with the carbide tip blade as well, and let's see if we can see a difference on the surface. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see side by side. I mean, it's not something we do every day.
No.
Test one blade and compare the surface to the other blade and just switch blades. I mean, normally you use one blade and you just, it's a great surface, but now we'll see
how it is
firsthand how it is.
One thing I think that would be a little bit clear with this blade. It's that it clears the sawdust a little bit better from the boards.
Uh-huh.
That's at least my impression. That
So, let's find out.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely fantastic.
That is nice. Yeah, that is much cleaner.
yeah,
I bet
Absolutely.
you want the carbide blade now.
Yeah. Yeah.
After
But I
seeing-
would have to keep the cooler closer to the saw head.
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Either way.
Yeah,
But
either way.
This
but-
is really nice. Yeah.
Notice the difference. As Pelle said as well, less sawdust. It takes away more sawdust,
Yeah. Wow.
as you can see when we open it up. And the surface is just fantastic. Wow. Let's check if we have some more questions.
That is nice.
yeah,
Good job.
yeah. You can actually, especially when you're using water, you can tell. with it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the.
And this is, I think, this is about 11 inches wide,
Uh-huh.
so it's fairly wide.
And it felt like you had a smoother
Yeah,
cut as well.
for sure. It feels lighter
Yeah,
when you're pushing it.
super. And then if we compare it to this,
Yeah, it is. I would say that's a noticeable.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
a
bit.
difference.
I mean, the
It's
standard
less
and
hair.
yeah,
It's not
the-
pulling the fiber. you
no,
know?
exactly.
Yeah.
It cuts them more like straight off.
Yeah. Great.
Let's take Göran back. Göran,
Yep.
what a difference!
Yeah, it's
The-
a really big difference.
The surface, it's and now when you see it like side to side, it just cuts the fibers right off and gives a super clean surface.
And they are extremely sharp, the carbide blades, and they are the teeth are built up in a totally different way. So it cuts different from the other two types of blades with normal setting.
It's really
So,
cool to look at these small carbide tips and see how they're shaped differently. I mean, you could look at it all day and it's like super cool.
Yeah, they are set, you can say, in a set of 7 teeth. There are 7 different teeth, both in height and I think the English word is outlay, the size of the teeth. So that gives a really different and good result from the other two types.
Yeah, I mean it's really cool to see like this firsthand, and perhaps this gives some inspiration to customers out there as well to try out the new Carbide blade. I don't know if you've seen it, but we've actually managed to do something about the price. So we now have a lower price on the Carbide blades as well, to give everyone the possibility to try it out. Göran, we have some guesses in the competition as well.
Yeah.
People are guessing away. I don't know who was the first to guess on. Oh, we got a lot of information from one of the participants here.
Maybe you can pick a winner by lottery, and then you can tell on your website who won.
Yes, we can do that. I think it's impossible for me to right now see who was the first with the correct answers, since we're sending both on Facebook and YouTube. So we will pick a winner from the live stream on Facebook and YouTube, who will win the super cool refrigerator. Göran, do you want to add anything about BACHO and the bandsaw blades?
No, I just want to point out the importance to keep the tooth protection on while setting all blades up, and maybe, as I think everybody knows, when you are not using the bandsaw, release the tension of the blade. So you save the bearings on the machine, and you also get a better lifetime. And that you don't need to do it if you're away just for a couple of hours. But when you have done your cutting for the day, then you can release the tension. That saves a lot.
Very good information. What blade would you recommend?
I would recommend everybody to test the Carbide blade just to see the difference and save time, not having to resharpening blades. But and now the price is better also, so I recommend those who have not tried the Carbide blade that they at least try it. It is a huge difference from normal blades.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can see only from this point of view just the surface, the difference in surface quality as well. It's huge. We have a grinder here as well, but thank you so much, Göran from BACHO, for joining us during the live stream. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Great to see you again.
Bye. Yeah, same.
So really cool to have Göran with us live from Lidköping, Sweden. I mean, he's the expert, knows about the bandsaw blades and going through all these, the standard blades, the HSS and the carbide tip blades. And I hope that you got some more information on the type of blades we have and how long they last and which blade to use when. But we have a grinder with us. We have a grinder with us, Mr. Grinder. Meet Mr. Grinder.
Yes.
We have the Grind Lux, the bandsaw blade grinder that we sell. And this is a great tool for resharpening your bandsaw blades, both the standard blades and the bimetal blades or the HSS blades. Pelle, can you walk us through just
Yeah.
setting it up for
So
grinding?
you can see the top handle here is where you set the depth, how deep the disc should go down into the teeth, each teeth. And here is where you adjust how it moves each teeth or tooth forward. So when you're starting up the machine, you can start by starting the feed, just to see that the disc is going down, so you don't remove too much material here. And once you're happy with the depth and where the disc goes down into the tooth, you can start the disc, and then it starts to grind. And ideally, you want to remove as little material as possible, and you also want to follow the gullet for a little bit as well, because when you're milling you get micro cracks here, and you want to grind them off so the cracks doesn't grow and finally snap the blade. So that is important. But I would say the key is to remove as little material as possible, and therefore it's also important that you don't run the blades for too long either. That's probably the most common thing, that you have a few logs left and you continue milling, and then you get these wavy boards and you can't really use them for much. We can stop this now.
But really easy to use and set up. And one grinding session takes about 8 to 10 minutes, depending on the length of the saw blade.
Yeah.
And you can run it with a 12-volt car battery, which makes it possible to run it wherever you are.
And it's quiet too. This isn't something. Could you get away with putting this in your living room, or at least maybe the kitchen?
I mean, depends on if you have a movie on at the same time at a high volume.
And also the weather outside.
And
right?
the weather outside,
But
exactly.
yeah, no, it's a quiet machine.
But it's good to. I mean, today it's really good to be inside.
Yeah.
But it's a quiet machine, easy to take with you. 12 volts, so you can run it everywhere where you have your sawmill, if you're out and about.
And you can get it with a CBN disc.
Exactly. I mean, the standard grinding disc can be replaced with the CBN disc, which makes that the CBN disc keeps its form all the time, so you don't have to reshape the disc as you would with the standard grinding disc. But still, you get a lot of sharpenings out of a standard disc as well. And it does its job, as Pelle showed you. You just set it up for the first couple of teeth, and then you just let it work until it done one full turn, one full lap, and then it's ready to put on the next blade.
Yeah.
And this is something that you can just set it up and let it run while you're milling, for example.
Yeah.
And you have a fresh blade to start with next time. So let's see if we have some more questions to end up with. We have some more guesses, I think.
If you have, let's say you've milled all day with the standard blade, and then
No, you won't be able to mill all day.
well, I
with the
mean, you
standard
mill
blade.
all day. You have 5
Yeah.
different blades, so you have 5 blades on the, and then it comes time. It's time to sharpen them.
Yeah.
What can we expect? We have small details to change for each blade, for example, that has run 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
We're going to have minor adjustments to this.
Yeah.
Or-
Let's say you have 15, 20 second setup
Yeah.
when you put the first blade on.
And then
but
you
then,
just
then
let it go.
between the 5 blades,
Yeah. You just have to verify.
you just have to make some minor adjustments before running them. Just verify so you
Yeah.
take off as little material as possible.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's
some
good.
fine tuning between the blades, but pretty straightforward and easy to operate and switch between blades as well.
Sure.
And it's basically the same depth all the time, and the takeoff on the face of the tooth as well.
And what could we expect for the lifespan of the? You talked about the different discs. What can we expect? Like, how many sharpenings does a disc last? And
Oh, I mean, many sharpenings, lots.
Yeah.
I can't say how many,
Yeah,
but since you reshape the disc all the time,
Yeah.
not all the time, but since you're able to reshape the disc, you can have it last until it's just a tiny disc left.
Okay.
So several hundred sharpenings
Great.
before you need to replace it. So Pelle, do we have any more questions?
No, I think we got some more guesses in the competition.
Yes, that's good.
But we didn't have any more questions here now. No.
Good.
Very interesting. I'm expecting a lot of inquiries now on some carbide.
On the carbide blades, yes.
We have a lot of new bandsaw mills coming into the United States. Thank you, Andreas.
You're
and
welcome.
If anybody out there has your bandsaw mill ordered, okay, we'd like you to talk to us about getting a carbide blade for this, because we want you to feel as smooth as Pele looked when you make the cut, right?
Yeah.
And so please get in touch with us, because I'm excited to see how you guys feel running these carbide blades. I mean, I know what it feels like right here, but I want you guys to feel this at home. Everybody who's ordered a bandsaw mill from us already, I'm here to make sure we're getting these coming. So don't worry. Thank you for showing us everything, and it feels great to be on the team and working hard for all of our customers out there, and we're excited to share these with you.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you found it interesting to dive deep into a bit about our bandsaw blades and how they're made up. The standard blades, the HSS blade, and the carbide blade, which I hope you will get the chance to try soon. So order your carbide blade. Don't hesitate. Take care and see you next time.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.